Well, good day to y'all. If anybody sees this video anyways, I am sitting out here. We got got a bunch more fresh snow on. I know when I was heading home from work last night, the temperature just seemed quite uncomfortable, you might say. Which surprised me. I figured, well, I mean, it snowed a bunch, but it had been melting. But then I looked at the temperature and it's down in the teens. So that could possibly be why it felt uncomfortable outside. And today, sun's out shining. A little bit of clouds that's kind of keeping it from shining real bright, so I had to put on my big old fur hat to keep from getting cold. But right now I am smoking some Pipe Force Episode 1. And I'll have to admit, based on the components, I should love it. Based on the smoke, I like it pretty good. It might seem a little bit too smooth and boring to me. A little bit like whiskey. Some people like a real refined, smooth whiskey. And they like to talk about how smooth it is. Whereas, yeah, I don't want it to drink above its proof, but what I'm looking for is for flavor. And sometimes what people conflagrate or whatever with smooth is actually just kind of boring. So it seems just a little bit boring maybe, but I'll have to give Sutliff its due. At least it ain't burning, it ain't nipping me. It must not have too much of that topping they like to stick on that takes away the flavor and ruins it for me. Christmas Cheer would be one that would be toward the top of the list of those ones. I better get to the reason for the video in the first place. I wanted to talk about human beings or people. And you know, most of my life, I should say all my life, I've been kind of a recluse, you might say. I love people, but yet I don't like people, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I have my friends I love to see, but I don't have to see them every day. And so it actually makes for better friendships because there's no drama, you know. There's no pressure. People can just be your friend and you can be great friends. You get together whenever it's convenient, but you're not dependent on them all the time. But people oftentimes well, I don't know about how often, but people ask me what it's like. Do people treat me better being I'm in a wheelchair? Because I haven't been in a wheelchair nearly all my life. And I'm going to take a sip of some lukewarm coffee. And so I would say I really don't know. I think some people treat me worse and some people treat me better. when I had my accident, some of my best friends I had before continue to be my best friends. Boy, this whole camera is sure making the old gray hairs on my old whiskers stick out. I like to think of myself as a kid still, but I guess tough living has made my hair's gray or something. I don't. Surely it's not anything to do with age. Anyways, and then some kind of just faded away. I don't blame them. It's not everybody's deal to if they feel awkward around me, that's okay. They can move on. I got plenty of good friends I like. I think that quantity over quality is preferable. But I communicate with quite a few. I really got to give a shout out to the pipe smoking bunch. And I have not been involved that much on Instagram, and just got on YouTube, so that's kind of a new thing. Hope I'm not being too boring. Anyways, with old Pipes deciding that wants to maybe go out. Burning pretty good for a Sutliff crumble cake, though. I better not get too many people, Sutliff fans, mad at me. But I guess that's part of my problem, is I just don't really care. Anyways, so I communicate with people on Instagram, and I just fantastic bunch. People on YouTube, I didn't think anybody was even gonna watch my videos. I just figured I'd just do a little blabbing and nobody'd notice, and I figured, well, that's fine if that's the way it works out. But then Greg of the Tunnel Take watched my video, and for some reason he liked it, and he gave me a shout out, and then there's that other fella. He's got a great channel, by the way, but I cannot think of his name right now. But he gave me a shout out on his Saturday shout outs. What's interesting, these guys don't know me. Why should they care about me and my channel? But anyways, I always say, well, I have a pretty good vaccine against being treated too good because I'm in a wheelchair, because I'm kind of an egotistical, opinionated jerk a lot of times. Or as my friend Andrew would say, and my great friend, his fiancée Natasha. They're wonderful folks. They're my best friends in town. He likes to call me a loser when he's walking along. He works not too close to where I live, so when he's walking by in the yard, he hollers out, "Loser!" But then, now I'm a little bit less of a loser because I've got me a job and I'm making a little money, and so I'm somewhat of a contributor instead of a detributor, you might call it. So some people, I think, treat me great. Some people treat me, not so good. Just depends. But I wanted to talk about a guy on that I met on pipe for him. Sorry about the length of this video. I can't keep my brain straightened out a lot of times when it comes to talking. It's just a hereditary issue. Smarter than I act, anyway. But he was trying to sell some warped scarecrow, and well, I never tried it, and they weren't making any last year, and I'd read the brags, and I thought, well, it'd be cool to try it, and so I was looking at the classifieds, and this guy was trying to sell a lot of 4 or 5 10s, I don't remember. And I don't like having a pipe that ain't lit in my mouth, so I'm gonna light this sucker. That is, if I can succeed in getting some old flame going. I know I have the vertical view on my camera. That's just because I don't have a camera holder that sets up to where it works good. But anyways, I contacted him and I said, or sent him a private message and said, I'd be happy to buy 1 can if you decide you want to sell 1 can. Sure enough, can't afford more than 1. And he said, I'll let you know if they don't sell. So a few days later, get on there, I see a private message that says, well, they didn't sell. So he said, I'll just give you a can and you can pay the shipping. And I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome. I'm like, I'll take that all day. Now keep in mind, this guy never had a clue that I was in a wheelchair. He didn't know anything about my life, and my life was actually kind of sucked right then because I was having to move, and my rent had jacked way up, and I didn't know how I was going to be able to afford to pay for anything. So it was a little bit of a downward period, you might say. And I was like, that's awesome. And then he sent me this message and asked me what. I guess there ain't no tamping this one back to life. Anyways, he said, he asked me what kinds of tobacco I liked. So I mentioned, different ones I like, but basically I like everything. Every genre I love. Dark Fire is probably my favorite genre. But I like Vapors, Englishes, Virginias. I don't really care. They're all great. And he said, alright, well, I'll throw a box together for you. And I was like, alright, that's awesome. And then so I told him, alright, well, let me know when you ship it, and I'll pay you for the shipping. Well, he sent me a message back that says, don't worry about it, I got you. Keep in mind, he never knew anything about me. And just this random guy on this little forum, I believe, Wyoming Piper or something was what I was called, what my handle is on that forum. But anyways, I get this box in the mail and I am blown away when I cut it open. So he sent me this can of Warped Scarecrow. He sent me a can of, is it the Anthology? That was a vapor blend from, they made it again, but this last year they made it was a pure Virginia blend. I haven't tried that one yet, but I have a couple of cans. But from the year before, where it was Virginia Perique, I could be all mixed up on what's what. But anyway, he sent me that one of those. He sent me a chunk of Brown Irish X rope, which from Gaywith and Hogarth, which are awesome. And I was blown away when I seen this. It's one of them old barrel-shaped cans of GLPs. I believe it's Samara. I believe it is. It's an English blend anyways. Almost 20 years old. Probably worth $50. I don't know what it's, but he sent me probably close to $100 worth of tobacco. Didn't know me from anyone. It was just this random dude he talked to on the message on the internet. He didn't know nothing. And I just couldn't believe it. It's like, I would have never done that for anybody. I'm not that nice of a guy. So then I messaged him, and then I told him a little bit about myself, and he was just, I mean, you could tell he's happy. He's just like, the Lord works in mysterious ways. The Lord works in mysterious ways, and to this day, I'm still blown away. In fact, we keep in contact, and he said, I've got more tobacco than I'll ever smoke in my lifetime, so if you ever need some tobacco, you know, I'll hook you up. Which, in a way, makes it kind of difficult, because I'd like to be able to just buy some. He's probably got some really nice, more old stuff in his cellar, but if I know he's going to give it to me, then I have to have a pretty good excuse to tell him I needed some tobacco, because that would then I'd just be a moocher instead of anything else. So you know, we stay in contact, and it's great. There's other great guys on Instagram I could contact all the time. I don't contact them much, but I consider them great friends. Quite a number, actually. And then there is, now I'm on YouTube. Well, lots of great people on YouTube. And that a couple of the channels I got to know just because they subscribed to me. That one guy that gave me the shout out, I can't remember if his name is Dave something or other or whatever, but thank you anyways, Dave. He gave a perfect message when he gave a shout out. He said, just check these channels out. If you like them, watch them. If you don't, then don't, but at least check them out and give them a chance. I'm like, that's perfect. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. That's your choice. And no hard feelings. And so a whole bunch of people subscribed, and that Greg from Tunnel Take, I don't know why he bothered to give me a shout out. I've never really talked to him, but obviously he's a great guy. No, my videos are the opposite of Paladin's, by the way. Paladin is one of my favorites because he's an old codger. Well, I'm not necessarily the biggest codger blend fan, but I do like codger blends. So part of the reason why I made this YouTube channel is because I'm going to enter this slow smoke contest, and obviously I'm not going to win, but that doesn't really matter. Maybe I'll win the matches. So if any of you guys are in the competition for matches, you better put your you better start figuring out how you're gonna win those, because I'm gonna be competing against you pretty hard. But anyway, his videos are so well produced. Another thing I love about the folks I meet on the pipe smokers, we are, the great Emerson Southern Forged, Jim Steffi, he mentioned something about pipe smokers are more of a contemplative type of bunch, because they sit back and basically do nothing but think and smoke for an hour or whatever, how long your pipe bowl lasts. And most people don't do that. They gotta, and so you can get a lot of thinking done in that amount of time. It can be not real bright thinking, but it's thinking anyway. So I switched pipes here. I'm smoking an old Peterson Bulldog now, and I have some. I made this auction mistake that a lot of people make. There's this old tin of Sterling Flake from 2016. I love Sterling Flake or Irish Flake, whichever. I don't really care which. And it's from 2017. I'm like, oh, 7 years old. I was just bidding on it just for that. It was quite a few days from selling. Has fantastic burning characteristics. That's one thing I love about it. The taste is another thing. But I was on 10 bids, and I decided, well, I'm just going to see how high I got a bid to beat the guy that put in the bids already. And so I bid, and I just bid until I was ahead of him, but it was several days from selling. So I was quite confident that I wouldn't win the auction, so it was like, no big deal. Well, then a few days later, I was looking at my emails, and all of a sudden it said I won this auction. I'm like, what? I didn't even really necessarily want that. I thought it'd be kind of cool to have it, but my objective was never to win. Which reminds me, I like to keep myself involved in the cattle industry quite a bit. I sell cattle for people, and consign cattle, and find feedlots around here. We got quite a few little feedlots farmers have to keep them in. So sometimes people try to bid their stuff up a little bit, and you can run the risk of buying it back. But if it's not the price you want, it's not that big of a deal. You just got to pay the commission, but you're gonna figure out another place to sell them to get the amount of money you want if you don't think they're bringing the price you want. But anyways, this old Sterling Flake, I just love this stuff. But it's one tobacco that I don't think age improves it. I believe I like it just as good fresh, maybe even better. Hard to argue with how good this is tasting though, so Maybe that's all a bunch of hogwash. I don't know. But anyways, enough blabbing. Way too long of a video. You guys all have a wonderful day. And talk to you all later. Catch you later. Have a good one.